Hey everyone, it's Chris here from Everyday Survival Gear, and today we are refilming this intro because I stuffed it up the first time. And we are also reviewing the Convoy L21B, which is a new L2 from Convoy. Basically, I forgot to add in the output and whatnot, so my L2 came as just a shell, as just a host, but I put in the, let me see if I can focus there. I threw in one of the tiny Osrams known as the flat white, which is the KW something something something. I've got it written down here. So in this light is the CSL NM1TG. So Osram KW CSL N1M TG. You can buy this stock from Convoy too, so I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. I do go on later to talk about the light, its specs and whatnot. It does pretty well for throw. It actually gets 397,000 CD, which is a lot more than I thought it would, so remember those numbers. And it does a little bit around 900 lumens. When I tested it, I did test it on a kind of a flat battery, but 900 lumens is actually better output than I thought it would get. Sounds a tad high, but it's probably just about right. So remember those numbers, 397,000 CDs, because I do not mention them later on. And if you like the video, hit like and subscribe and share it. If you don't like the video, use some reverse psychology and hit like. Alright guys, let's get, I'll edit the other part back in now. So this is like a lightened down version of the original Convoy L2. So we'll go over some specs and whatnot. First and foremost, I got mine without a driver and without the LED. I was looking to buy mine with the SFT40, but it wasn't in stock. So right now my one is running the Osram CSL NM1TG. You can actually buy this from Convoy stock from Simon, already built, so keep that in mind. So this has got AR coated glass, the same as the original L2. Obviously it's got a smooth reflector. One thing that is different is this uses either 21700s or 18650s, unlike the original L2, which could use 26650s also. So you had the option there of 3 batteries, and also my original L2 came with like a battery extension, so I could run it as 2 or 1. So the original driver in that L2 was a buck driver. I don't think there is an extension tube for the L21B, but it is what it is. So keep that in mind when deciding which one of these to buy. This is lighter than the original. This is 212 grams versus 540 grams for the original L2. That does mean this isn't as good at handling heat as the other, as the original L2, but it's still pretty good at handling heat. It's not actually too much heavier than a L2, only 50 grams heavier. So it does fit a 20mm MC PCB. So there we go, 20 mils, the LED there. Does work with a 20mm driver, same as the original L2, also 20mm driver. The reflector is 58mm in diameter, and the inner diameter is 54 mils. I often see people comparing these L2s to the FT03. They're not really very comparable because the FT03 does have a bigger reflector. So keep that in mind. And the lens is 58 mils. You can buy them built, as I said. So built, they're about $31 US, which isn't too bad. I paid $24.90 for mine, so yeah, not too bad. It was a pretty good buy. Alright, now we'll have a quick look around the light. Overall, I quite like the design, you know, the little, kind of like a little plunger. You know, the knurling's nowhere near as aggressive as the knurling on the original L2. It does have some heat fins here to dissipate heat. Even with this tiny LED in here that's only doing like 5 amps, it still does get really, really hot. So it is a lot lighter weight than the original. Different tail cap design there, as you can see. It all works pretty good. When I took mine apart when I first got it, I don't even know if I put a new O-ring on here. The threads were not lubed, so I broke this front O-ring because some of the threads were a bit rough. But besides that, everything came pretty good, I would say. So we'll just quickly take it apart. So as I was saying, the lens is 58 mils, same as the outer diameter of the reflector. So it is slightly smaller than the FT03. You can see the AR coating there. See that little bluish hue? The other thing that is pretty different to the, you can see the reflector came pretty clean, no blemishes. There is a few little specks on there. That was me shaving down a gasket to make this light work properly. The major difference is this reflector is slightly lower than on the original L2, and although it does sit on top here, you can see how it's supposed to sit there on top, and it's not aligned. So even without that gasket, it doesn't actually sit on top like the original one. So the original L2 reflector would have a few mils gap in the bottom, where this one you can push the whole way down. It's got a little bit of extra space, which is okay, but it does kind of leave a bit of a gap. I shouldn't really tighten it back up right now. And like magic, it's back together. So as I was saying, you can see there is a slight gap here, not too noticeable, but that reflector design does kind of help with fitting different size LEDs, because these 3030 LEDs are very thin, so they're very small. So we'll continue taking it apart. Quite good grip, even on the head. I guess it is hard anodizing type 3, and obviously it's made out of aluminium alloy, like pretty much all lights nowadays. But you are seeing more and more plastic lights and stuff. So I got a 20mm Convoy driver in here. These are the 6 amp drivers now. They actually changed them from 5 to 6 amps. But it is running a little bit high. It's at like 5.5 amps. So yeah, it shouldn't really be that high. But I didn't spring bypass here because I'm trying to make the resistance higher so it doesn't pull too much current. So we look at the battery tube. A pretty standard size 21700 in here, but it is a really tight fit, so you know, not much wiggle room there. And double O-ringed, of course, and on the back just the standard Convoy tail cap and switch. Okay guys, so last off we'll just compare sizes. So that's the Convoy C8, the Convoy L21B, and the Convoy L6 that I'm still working on, but I've had a lot of difficulties with. So yeah, it's taken a little bit longer than I thought it would to get that one done. Alrighty guys, so right now we got the little L21B on Convoy, on the lowest mode on the Convoy driver. You can see the beam pattern isn't exactly perfect. You know, you'd rather all that light just be in the hotspot, but it's not too bad. And considering this is this lowest mode and it's a thrower, that still is pretty damn bright. Let's see, can we see to the end of the fence 20 meters away on the camera? I bet you when I get this inside it's not going to look that great. But someone's got a sheet up or something. So we can see that, right, that's mode 3 now. You can see the hotspot is actually very, very intense already. You can see how small it is. So yeah, so also you can see the beam of light coming out. It does look pretty damn cool. Alright, that's mode 4. Look at that beam, looks cool, eh? So, as I was saying in the video, which I had to re-edit, 397,000 CD, which is actually pretty damn good. I wasn't expecting to get such a high amount of candela, but considering that it is the Osram flat white, I guess, you know, maybe, but it does have a smaller reflector than the FT03. So yeah, you know, maybe if you put one of these in the FT03 and you could actually focus it, you could quite possibly get maybe even like 500, 550 KCD, I'd have to say. So this is the highest mode now. I haven't bridged the driver, so the driver is still stock, still maximum of 5 or 6 amps output, but I did leave the tail cap and the front spring, so there is no spring bypasses done to it. So hopefully that will help with the current draw. So I know you guys have just been looking at the yard for a while, so we'll go to the trees at the distance. You know, you can see that like daytime there. Although it's not too bright down there, the beam pattern is still very, very tiny. And they're about 130 meters away, just so you can compare them side by side. Well, there is no other light side by side right now. But yeah, not bad, you know. Like, that does a really good job. You can easily pick out something there at 130 meters. I will have to take these down to the park and give it a go there at 400 meters and see how it does. Okay guys, just for comparison, this is the Convoy C8 with the SFT40 in it. So you can see how wide the beam is on the back fence and how wide the beam is at those trees at 130 meters away. So I'll put on the L21B so you can see side by side. I know it's kind of washing it out, but if we spread the beams apart, you can see just how different that the beam patterns are. Obviously we know that the L21B is going to outthrow it, but it is actually quite a big difference considering that this C8 does 160 something thousand CD. So yeah, we'll go to the trees. So that's the L21B on the trees there. So you can see like that just looks like a rocket. That throws so good. And that's the C8 there. So although this C8 is super throwy and does throw a lot of light pretty far, it's still nowhere near as throwy as the L21B. You can see it's lighting up the whole house and stuff. So yeah, pretty big difference. Okay, last but not least is the FT03 with the SFT40 in it. So this is the highest mode on the L21B with the little flat wire OSRAM, and this is the SFT40, not on turbo mode yet, but on the highest ramping mode. So double click, and that's turbo mode there. So you can see this is still quite a massive difference in hotspot size, I believe. If you look on the ground, look at how small the hotspot is on the OSRAM compared to the SFT40. But the SFT40 just throws so far because it's got so much power. Let me turn off the little Convoy and we'll go to the trees at 130 meters. So you can see it puts down quite a lot of light. It doesn't light up anywhere near the size of what the Convoy does, as what the Convoy C8 does. But yeah, so this thing does throw about 430 KCD, so it does throw further than that little L21B, but not too much further. So we'll put on the L21B there, and that's pretty much it. So basically, you know, you kind of got two different systems of how you're going to throw the light. So this is the L21B on there, and you can see how tiny that the beam at the end of the trees is. Bruh. So basically, because you got such a small LED and a fairly big reflector, but it's not as big as the FT03, and nowhere near as much power. So if you had like 2000 lumens in this size LED, you'd probably throw, I don't know if it would be exactly twice as much, but it would throw a whole lot extra, which is what helps the FT03 throw further. Obviously, lumens doesn't account to throw, but let's just say if you had 100,000 lumens in a pretty shallow reflector, you could still get a high KCD number compared to having 1,000 lumens in a bigger reflector, but nowhere near as much output. Obviously, you've only got 1,000 lumens, bigger reflector, but the KCD might be the same. Alright guys, so I'll probably take it to the park and then I'll end up modding it with a SFT40 and see how it does side by side with the FT03. It'll be pretty interesting because it is a pretty good reflector design, as I say in the video. So watch out for that video. I'm pretty busy right now, but I'll try and get some more videos out. I've been trying to keep it pretty regular, but it's been a bit up and down. I have to finish that Convoy L6 video. So yeah, as always guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.